All right, it's 10 a.m. here in Irvine, California. Looks like we have about 90 attendees here today. I want to thank everyone for taking their time to attending the webinar, and hopefully you guys can get some good or even great info from the demonstrations we'll be providing today. If at any time there's some audio issues, just throw up a message in the chat to let one of us know, and we'll try to address that. Okay, so this is the first KeyShot webinar of 2014, titled Best Practices for Concept Development and Live Linking. So this will be a beginner level webinar where we'll go over some of the integration features and live linking features that really help provide some benefits for designers and engineers working between CAD software and KeyShot. So most notably, one of the benefits of working with live linking is the ability to make changes in your CAD software and update the model directly in KeyShot. So you can see in this example I have on my desktop background, I have the model open in SolidWorks, and I have this rendered image from KeyShot, and we can work simultaneously between the two softwares, pushing over changes, updating geometry while maintaining materials and part structure and hierarchy. So when live linking is used correctly, you will not need to reapply any of the materials that were previously applied to your model. The shaders that you've applied in your modeling software will be remembered by KeyShot, so the corresponding materials will automatically be applied. So when using live linking correctly, it can really boost your efficiency and your productivity when working between CAD and KeyShot. So first of all, you can find the plugins at KeyShot.com under Resources, Plugins. And if we scroll down here, we can see our options for the plugins. So live linking is available for Creo, Pro E, Fusion 360, SolidWorks, Rhino, and also Solid Edge. So to download the plugin, just click on the button and download the corresponding version number. So I've already downloaded the plugin to my desktop here. I'll be installing it in just a moment. So my name's Rex Roberts, and I'm a digital media artist here at KeyShot. I do have some background using SolidWorks, so today I'll be demonstrating using SolidWorks 2014. So why don't I go ahead and install this plugin. For the next half of the webinar, we'll have our other digital media artist, Sean Redsar, demoing using Rhino 5. And when we complete the webinar, we'll have a recording of it posted to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/KeyShot3D. And you can also find some more resources here, including quick tips, tutorials, and some user-created content as well. So once you download the plugin, you'll be prompted with a text file, which will explain the steps to activate the plugin within your CAD software, give you some basics on how to use the plugin, and also some troubleshooting information. So we can close this for now and finish our install wizard, and let's go ahead and open up SolidWorks 2014. Okay, and I found this motorcycle exhaust model on GrabCAD. I'll have the model credits for this in the comments on the YouTube page, so you can follow along in the future. Okay, so we have this in a part file, and we currently do not have any materials or shaders applied to our model here. But in order to work efficiently with the plugin, we will want to apply some shaders. So if we open up our appearance pane, we can start coloring up these parts. So let's start with the body, and you can add colors or shaders on various levels of your part depending on how you'd like to split it up when bringing it into KeyShot. So I know that this center part will be a brushed aluminum material, so I'll use a gray. And what I like to do is for each project have a set of colors that I use in SolidWorks that correspond to a set of shaders that I'll be using in KeyShot. So if I've used this gray, I can copy this appearance and then paste it onto any other parts that will be using the same brushed aluminum finish. And I know this will be a chrome material, so I'll change the body color to a white, and I can copy this appearance and paste it onto all the other parts that will be using this chrome material. And this will be a carbon fiber in the final render. So maybe we'll make this a darker gray. Again, copy that appearance and paste it onto the other carbon fiber part. Now for our label area here, we have this separated out as a part, but we can also separate this face, so we can have a different material for the actual part and then separate the face out by applying a different color. Okay, so now that we have all of our shaders applied, we can take a look at the plugin. So right now, after I've installed the plugin, this KeyShot link has been added to my toolbar. If this doesn't show up, you can go to your add-ins and scroll down and make sure the corresponding plugin is active, and if you'd like it to automatically become active on startup, you can also enable that here. So taking a look at the options, we have render, export, and update. So what render will do is automatically launch KeyShot and import your file with all the corresponding shaders already applied. Also, we'll have the same model hierarchy. Since this was a part file, we have our top level, and each of the other parts contained are separated here, except for the one part which I separated the face. So you can see I can actually hide that face even though it was not a separate surface in SolidWorks. We still have the ability to do that here in KeyShot. So that was the render option, and the next option here would be export, and what this does is actually saves a BIP file to your hard drive. So if you do not have KeyShot installed on your machine, the plugin is still helpful. You can export as a BIP. The engineer can then share this BIP file with the designer or whoever will be rendering. And this will work essentially the same way as LiveLinking, but instead of pushing the data directly from SolidWorks to KeyShot, we'll be importing the BIP with the ability to update the geometry, and I will show you that in a moment. So then our last option is the ability to update. So any changes that are made to the scene or to the model, you can click this update button and it'll push those changes directly over. So before we do that, let's go back into KeyShot and start to apply some materials and lighting to our scene here. Okay, so I'm going to start off just quickly applying some materials. This, like I said, this was a carbon fiber, so this will be a plastic with a white specular. And go over to my textures tab. I have a carbon fiber texture here that I'll drag and drop into the color swatch. Here we have our in-project material palette, so you can see the shaders that were brought over from SolidWorks. And you can see this is the carbon fiber I'm currently working with. So let's reduce our scale and maybe add a little bit of an angle to the weave here and continue to paint up the model. This will be a metal, or for our brushed aluminum we can go through our library, find some textured brushed aluminum and drag and drop it onto our part. So you can see that the shaders that we linked inside of SolidWorks, for example the carbon fiber and also this brushed aluminum, now are linked to each other inside of KeyShot. So let's just adjust the scale, bring the bump height down a little bit, and continue to add the rest of our materials. Okay, and lastly I will add a label that I've created to this badge here. So I can drag and drop my label directly onto the part, choose that I'd like to add it as a label, go over to my Labels tab in the project window, and begin to position it so it appears correctly. That'll be good enough for now. I want this label to catch the highlights of the lighting environment, so I'll change the specular to white. And bring in a backplate image. Maybe adjust my perspective to something that's not quite as drastic. I'm going to add a ground plane. Double click to edit that material and add some ground reflection. So you can see that the model is not realistically placed on the ground, so I'd like to move it, and any changes you make to the position of the model will be remembered and will not break the update function. So let's use our move tool to rotate and position the model so it's more realistically placed on the ground here. Okay, so now let's go back into SolidWorks and make a change to our geometry. So let's say I wanted this exhaust pipe here to have slightly less of an angle, so I can find that feature in my scene tree and just edit this sketch, save the changes to that, and then I can go ahead and click Update to push those changes over to KeyShot. So now you can see here this pipe is a little more elongated and the angle is not as much. Now when I updated that model, I sent the entire geometry over, but since I only changed one part, for efficiency's sake, I could have simply selected that single part and used Update to only push over that part, which will make that update process a little faster, and that helps a lot when you're dealing with large assemblies or more complex files. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our file now that we have something we like here. So now with my BIP file saved and my SolidWorks file saved as well, we could theoretically close KeyShot and SolidWorks and then reopen them both and continue using LiveLinking just like we've been doing. In order for that to work correctly, we just need to make sure that the part name or assembly name of the SolidWorks file is consistent with what we have in our scene tree. So if we were to save the SolidWorks file as a different name, it would break the LiveLinking functionality. So let's talk about revisions real quick. If I go into Edit, Preferences, I can enable backup versions, and I can set the amount of saves I'd like to save. So what this does is allows me to revert back to previous saves just in case I made a change in my scene that I wasn't happy with and accidentally saved on top of it. So let's take a look at what that might look like. If I wanted to change this material maybe to an anodized, can save the file, go up to File, open my revision manager, and you can see a thumbnail of each of those revisions, and we can revert back to the selected revision and also delete the older revisions. So these will add files to your hard drive. You can see here this is my second revision, so it does take up some space. So I recommend that once you're happy with your current revision, you can delete some of the older ones just to free up some space on your hard drive if desired. Okay, so then I've showed you how to make changes and update those within KeyShot. Now I'd like to add some parts to my KeyShot scene. So I've modeled these brackets, and let's just imagine I've modeled these from scratch now. For time's sake, I've already modeled them, but we can update the geometry just the same way we did when making changes to existing geometry. So now we have our brackets in the scene, And since those brackets were given the same shader as the other chrome materials, KeyShot remembers which shaders were applied and updates that material accordingly. So using this method of updating geometry through LiveLinking, we'll always only have our one model in the scene tree. In some cases you might want to record all of the variations and keep them inside of the scene tree as well. So in order to do that, you can just export as a BIP. We're notified when the export is complete, and then I can go ahead and import this BIP file. So we have a few options here. For those of you who are not working with KeyShot and SolidWorks on the same machine, you can use the update geometry feature the same way as we've been using LiveLinking. But in this case, we'll be adding it to the scene and using the keep original size so that we know that our two exhausts will be the same size relative to each other. And we're going to check this box here for retain materials so that the shaders we've applied in SolidWorks will be updated with the materials we've applied in KeyShot. So we'll import, and now you can see we have our two models here, except our scale has changed, so we can just simply look at the scale of our original and type in that value here. Now since we didn't update the geometry, you can see that the position that I changed with the original model has not been kept. So there are pros and cons of working with the two different methods. But if we wanted to then create a variation study, we can move our model and compare the two. We could create a model set for each of them and send them out to the queue and have them rendered to show our client. So that's my half of the SolidWorks and KeyShot LiveLinking demo. And next we'll have Sean Redsar presenting the Rhino 5 and KeyShot LiveLinking demo. So let me make Sean the presenter. Okay, I can see your screen, Sean. Go ahead and get started.
Thanks, Rex. So I'm going to be covering the Rhino aspect of LiveLinking. So similar to what Rex showed in the beginning, you want to go to keyshot.com/download/plugins. You can also go to resources and click on plugins under the resources tab. It'll take you to this page and find your correct application. Here's Rhino, and download the correct version of the plugin for your Rhino version, and also the correct one for your KeyShot version that you have. So I have the 64-bit, so I already downloaded it and installed it. The steps are similar to what Rex has shown, so I'm going to go ahead and just show you it working in Rhino right now. Okay, so once you have it installed, on the menu bar on the top, you'll see KeyShot 4 has been added to the menu options. And let me go show you what happens when you hit the render button. So it'll push it over and actually open an instance of KeyShot. If you can see here though, some tricky things about the Rhino plugin is if everything is on the same layer, it will be treated as a single part. So if I try to paint just the blade, it's going to paint the whole thing, which is not desired probably. What you want to do then is separate each part into individual layers. I know that's the workflow for most Rhino users anyways, so what you can do is take some of these parts and just start assigning it to the different layers, like that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and render that again. Let me close out this version right here. So as you can see, we have some breakups in the parts now. We have the blade part right here, which is layer 1, as you can see. Let me show you again. So all other parts are on the first layer, which is blade 1, and I just put the handle parts on the second layer, which I named handle. That's layer 2. So you can see it's carried over. The layer names are actually what's going to be named for the part names, and everything that's within that layer is going to be merged into a single part that's going to be colored. So that poses some workflow solutions that you have to resolve within Rhino first before you push it over the KeyShot, mainly the material breakups. So you can continue selecting parts and assigning it to different layers. I've already done that in another Rhino file here. So this is all broken up. Let me go ahead and close this one out so we can render this one out. And here you can see on the scene tree, all the different layers are broken up into parts grouped together. So these are all grouped together as a single part, each layer. And then we can just go ahead and start painting it up as we choose. I'm going to go ahead and I've already saved out some materials, which you can do, which really helps speed up your process if you know exactly what you want to do. Let me go ahead and show you how you do that real quick. So what I did first was, let's say I wanted to make this aluminum. So if you want to kind of create a folder in your library for this particular project, you can hit the new folder icon and just name your folder whatever project you want it to be. Actually, let's put this on the top. There we go, new project. And I'm going to save this to library. Let me rename this first. Let's call it new project metal. Okay, and then I'll just say save the library and place it into new project, hit OK. And now you know when you click on the folder in your materials library, you'll always see that material there that you can always reference and just pull in, and that'll be good for if you have other instances of this project that use the same materials. I've already done that with all the other materials, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this webinar folder, and then I'm just going to start applying these saved materials to my model. What I've also done is named each material to the similar layer / part name that's in my scene tree. So I'm just going to match it up basically. So blade edge, blade pivot, click on, and the handle rivet. Okay. So that's a quick, easy way to kind of reference materials that you're going to be using over and over for different iterations of your model. Okay, so let's go back to Rhino and go over some more of the plugin features. As Rex pointed out, export is there as well, just like in SolidWorks. If you need to send this out to someone, or if you want to create another BIP to work on a different machine or just work on a later time, you can do that as well. The real magic is in LiveLink though is the update feature. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to, let's say I want to change a feature on the handle. I want to make a hole in it, and like another hole just for style reasons. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a little hole there. Alright, so now there's a hole there. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the update button. And I'm going to go back to the KeyShot window. And as you can see, the hole is placed and all the material assignments are still intact. So any change you make in KeyShot or any kind of assigned materials, lighting, position, like Rex said, will be retained as you update them. So let me go ahead and undo that. Select, oh yeah, and also select all when you update. I'm going to go ahead and update this guy. So we're back to the way it was before. So as you can see, you can make a lot of revisions in Rhino and assign materials. Let me tell you guys a few things to avoid while using the plugin when you are using the Rhino LiveLinking plugin to a KeyShot. As I showed you, I assign materials through layers, which is the normal workflow that I use for breaking up parts and groups of parts. And it makes it really easy to assign materials in KeyShot if you know the breakup of the materials. Some people find that they like doing it through the Properties tab. Let me go and open up the other Rhino file. Let me show you what I mean. So okay, so the blade and all the other parts are all on this first blade layer. What you can do in Rhino is change the color by selecting it, and in the Properties tab under Display Color you can actually assign it here by the pull down. Let me go ahead and close this version out real quick. And when you render this out, it'll actually retain that color that you assigned in the breakups. So you'll see there's 3 different things going on here. And while that is a valid way of doing it, the crazy thing is sometimes when you're updating objects using this method, things can get lost or moved or disappear on you. So if you know that you are going to be using a KeyShot for rendering, I would highly recommend using the layer method for breaking up materials in KeyShot. There's also the way of doing it. I'll show you. So if you click on the Apart and click on the Materials button, and you can assign it here like this as well. can see how that looks by going to rendered. And I'm going to go to render again. And again, it does push through the initial rendering. And if you know you're not going to be changing anything else in Rhino, then this is a way you can do it as well to push through your part breakups, your material breakups. But if you think you're going to be doing a lot of updating with LiveLinking, I really suggest using the layer method, as it's more clean, and it just won't. It'll be just working a lot better. So I really suggest using the layer method. Just like SolidWorks as well, once you are, let me go ahead and push this one through again. Let me close out these other versions. Oh yeah, when you're doing LiveLinking, it's good to only have one instance of KeyShot, which is the linked version, to run at the same time, just so there's no confusion between the two applications as they're running simultaneously. So I'm going to go ahead and push this through again. Okay, and then I'm just going to quickly just okay, so let's say this is where I want to stop right now in my LiveLinking workflow from Rhino to KeyShot. What we can do now is save this file. And close it. And then what you can do is save the Rhino file as well. Make sure you do regular save. Do not do incremental save, because if you do incremental save, it will break the link. So make sure you save the normal name. So don't, if you understand, incremental saves add a numeral at the end of the name. So it's like knife 001, knife 002. So those are incremental saves. If you do that, it'll actually change the name and it'll break the link. So you just want to keep the name of the saved file the same. So you want to hit save. And you can go ahead and close that out. And then you can open it again. And open the KeyShot linked file. There we go. And you'll see as we continue to work, let's say, I don't know, let's go ahead and maybe hide the clips maybe, and see if we can keep working like that. So I'm going to go ahead and select all, go ahead and hit update. One second. If I make a change here and we hit update and see if that works. Oops, grab that knife edge. There we go. So you can see it's still linked. So as you make changes to the Rhino file, it will still push through to KeyShot. Okay, and that pretty much covers the live linking for Rhino. Let me see if there's any questions. Rex, is there any good questions about that I can answer that you haven't been answered yet?
Yeah, I've been going over the questions, and I don't think we have anything specific to Rhino. If so, please shout it out right now. So it looks like we're okay. We have some questions about Solid Edge and Inventor. Like I said before, the CAD softwares that have the live linking feature available with KeyShot are Creo, Pro-E, SolidWorks, Rhino, Solid Edge, and Fusion 360. So we may be adding some more in the future, but yeah, those 6 are the only current CAD softwares we offer live linking for.
I will also add that we are currently working on a new version of the Rhino plugin, so look to see some awesome improvements to the next Rhino version as well.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go over any unanswered questions just in case we missed something here. And again, we'll have a recording of this webinar up on our YouTube page at youtube.com/keyshot3D. And yeah, thank you guys all for attending. See you next month.
Thank you.
Bye.